You may notice a couple times a year on my social media when I'm away with my family, you might see a picture of a puzzle in various stages of its completion appear. And you follow my stuff, you'll see that. And we have kind of gravitated toward that as a little addition to some break that we have, because I think as a family that's probably a lot like yours, things are just always so open-ended in life, so chaotic. But with a puzzle, you can sit down and have that sense of finality, that sense of accomplishment. I mean, you certainly know when you're done, and you certainly know that you've done it right. The picture's complete, no leftover pieces. That's a good feeling. Because not all projects are that way. Some projects you have a sense that they're finished. You think that you're done, and then you find there's leftover pieces, and that's never good. I was 15 years old. My project was to rebuild this engine in the garage of our house, getting it ready for the car that I was going to drive, and I got my license. And one thing you don't want when you rebuild an engine that you're going to put in a car that you're going to drive, you don't want a lot of leftover pieces laying around in the garage. That's a bad sign. Well, it did work, thankfully, and got into my car, got into installing car stereos. I don't know, was anybody into that? Just, I got to be known among my friends that I could do that fairly well, and so they'd bring their car over, we'd sit in the driveway, take their dash apart, put in some cool system, and then, you'd put it all back together, and your friend's confidence in you would be really impinged upon if you had a whole bucket full of leftover parts from their dashboard. That was not a good sign. Even as an adult, I know, trying to fix appliances around the house, which I've pretty much given up on at this point in my life, I remember putting things back together and having leftover parts and going, this probably is not a good sign that I have leftover pieces. Not a bad way to look at your life, by the way, that at the end of your life, you'd like to finish up and be done with your life without any leftover pieces. And what I mean by that is that all that God has entrusted to you, you have fully utilized in your life the way that God intended. You don't want to be like that man in the parable that Jesus spoke of who took what God gave him and just buried it in the ground. That's not what he wants. He wants you to invest it. He wants you to utilize it. He wants you to put it to work. It is as the Apostle Paul said at the end of his life, I finished the race. I poured out like a drink offering. I spent it all. Or as he said in 2 Corinthians to the Corinthians, he says, I'm spending and I've been expended for the souls of people. And that's just a good feeling in a sense that you are a good, what the Bible calls steward of what God has given you. And that's the biblical theme of stewardship, of managing the things that God entrusts to you, and as a good steward, putting them to work so at the end of your life, you said, I fully utilize them.